the meeting here at 6:33.
Let me just pull up the agenda.
The agenda. I want to thank Susan for making it cleaner than what I did.
Oops, what did I just do?
Okay, first one is Redevelopment Authority Board Members vacancy. I brought a copy of the posting here, if you want to look at it. The front page does have the vacancy, and then if you click on it, you're going to see the request, or talk about it, and then they're going to actually, well, they're asking you to send in, whomever is interested, to send in a resume. There is a deadline, and that deadline is October 31st. Let me make sure I write that down. It's a joint meeting on the 7th with the Select Board. Now, I know, Savory, we thought it wasn't going to be, but Bob Fennessy felt that it was better that it become a joint meeting.
Yes.
And so he passed that information on, so it's a joint meeting.
Just to
Pat,
November 7th?
November 7th. Pat, can you make that meeting?
Yeah, I answered.
Ooh, Jill, you answered Jill?
I answered some email that said
Yeah, Jill sent out an email.
Yeah, okay.
that I'm good for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So we have now. Are we going to have any?
well, I imagine it's
Names in
tentative,
there,
right?
or
It's gonna be
it's gotta
tentative.
be, yeah.
But it's been scheduled for the 7th.
Okay.
And I don't know the time, the specific time, because look at what they did with your Concom, right? They kind of had something first, and then they kind of
Right.
had the Concom, so I
Well, if it's a joint meeting, they would probably do that first.
okay. So we're yet to hear from them,
Okay.
as
Right.
far as the specifics go, so that's that.
If we didn't have anybody, there probably wouldn't be.
Well, they would have to,
There would be
that
no-
would be.
no point for a
Yeah,
meeting, right?
exactly,
Okay.
yeah, so that, I
Right,
guess.
but we may want to look at that date as the date for our next meeting anyway.
Okay.
So if we do
Good.
have a joint meeting, we can adjourn from that and then come down
Oh,
here.
good idea.
Good idea.
Yep.
Thank you.
And continue, just us.
Yep.
And if there is no applicant, then we just have our meeting.
Right, very good.
Good
Like,
point.
So our next meeting, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but it's gonna be, we'll look at that when we get there.
Yeah, we're all going to be here, why not?
That's true, that's good, Savory, you're always thinking. The next thing that was posted was the consultant for hire. Savory, as you well know, we were lucky to have him putting together. I don't know if you saw it.
Yep.
You saw
I
it.
did. Oh, yeah.
But I added a deadline of October 31st to
Okay.
it.
Okay.
And I feel good, I put it up myself.
Good for you.
Savory says to me, "Are you sure? Do you know how to do it?" And I go, "Well, I'm gonna learn." There it is, right there.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, there it is, I put it there.
Oh, good. Hey, very
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
And that has an October 31st date of deadline as well. Moving right along, number 3, the Attorney General response for open meeting law violation. I was thinking Tom Bott was coming here tonight, but I don't see him, and that he would he be getting that, Savory? I'm not sure how that response would come.
I think all we had to do was vote to authorize KP Law to send the response.
Which we
We
did.
did.
We did.
I don't know if we expect anything else. I mean,
Okay. All right.
at some point, I guess there will be a decision as to whether there was a violation, but
I would think so. I'm going to be at the town with the select board, because what's her name? Shelby's going to show me. I'm asking her about getting a different login for me in addition to the rda.contact.
Okay.
And so I asked if I could meet with her and discuss that. So I'll be there. I'll ask Bob Fennessy what the action is, because
Yeah, I don't think we have to take any other steps unless it comes back that there was an open meeting law violation, in which case we'll probably get,
Right.
don't do it
I'm
again.
thinking, Bob,
Slap on the wrist.
somebody's gonna get a response. Kara, obviously, she's the town clerk.
Yeah, the response would go to KP Law,
Same
and then
thing.
they would come back to us.
Yeah.
Because KP Law is representing us in this.
Right. Okay, Route 44 project update, the Concom had a September meeting. I watched it, I was very impressed, Avery, thank you very much, with your committee and your patience. It was a public hearing.
It's wearing thin.
Yeah, it was a public hearing, and there were several things. The first one, I took some notes, it was the PFAS mitigation, and the second public hearing was the wetlands update. They did some remapping and so forth, but I'm gonna turn it over to Savory to enlighten us.
Basically, what Concom had to do at their last meeting was to approve the wetlands delineation that Route 44 had done. They had done a wetlands survey, I'm going to say 6 or 7 years ago, when all of the properties were individual lots.
Okay.
And they basically abolished that, and, they rescinded that, and then went back with their new preliminary subdivision plan that had all of the properties as pretty much as one. So they needed to resubmit the wetlands delineation plan for the entire lot. And basically, nothing changed from the original wetlands to the current wetlands, other than the fact that instead of 14 or 16 multiple lots, it was now one.
Oh, they also made a 100-foot buffer.
No, that was there always.
Oh, is that there all
Yeah,
the
that's
time?
part,
Oh, okay.
that's our jurisdiction as Concom, 100
okay.
feet from any wetlands.
Okay.
They have capped the area where the majority of the PFAS was. There was another smaller area of PFAS which they removed and relocated to the larger pile, so all the PFAS contaminated soil was in one area.
Right.
Then they capped that, domed it. The cap basically is so that rainwater does not soak through the PFAS and bring it lower into the ground, into the aquifer, or to the natural flow of water underneath, deeper in the ground. So that it's really right now it's the state-of-the-art solution, if there is one. There really isn't a great solution for PFAS. You can't dig it up and bring it somewhere else because no one wants it. There's nowhere to bring it. So the capping it is the current flavor of the day in order to try to mitigate any kind of expansion of the PFAS area. There is a third PFAS zone which is deeper, and it comes from across the street at the old Meadowbrook.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But that's coming from there. There's nothing they can do to stop that.
Fine.
Is that Ravensbrook?
Ravensbrook, not Meadowbrook. Ravensbrook, yes, thank you. And that's even deeper in the soil. And it's moving, I believe, to the northwest, following the basin that leads into the Taunton River.
Okay, so I took a couple more notes. Let me ask you this. Could you tell me how, I know what the capping is all about, state of the art, but they have to dig up all of that and then just lay it someplace, I'm assuming.
No, there were two.
Do they put something underneath it so that
No.
the PFAS doesn't, they don't?
No, they don't. The theory is that with nothing coming from the top,
Okay.
it's not going to move.
Oh, okay.
So it's like putting an umbrella on it.
Oh, okay.
So the only way the PFAS goes deeper is through rainwater.
Oh.
And it
Penetrates. Yeah,
But
okay.
by putting a cap on it, it stops the water and in theory should stop the movement of that.
So, interesting, and I want to tell you how patient he was. There were people there that didn't quite like the outcome. But Savory is very patient. Congratulate, that wouldn't be me. One of the things that he was so patient on is they assessed it with 100 monitoring wells, and they did this quarterly, if I remember correctly. The bottom line of it, they have a sampling well, and they're going to sample everything. The highest concentration is in the spring, so they determined that would be the time frame that they're going to be taking the sample.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So they are doing this. It's not, they just didn't pack it up, let the vegetation grow, and off they went. That didn't happen.
Right.
And the DEP actually went along, right? Approved the
Yes.
mitigation process that they did.
Yes. They were happy with the job that had been done and the procedure that was done.
Right, right. So I guess that completes it. What was the other thing I had? They had soil placing. That was another piece. Prior to moving, when they moved the 1 acre into the 8 acre,
Right.
they had to come in and do some soil replacing.
Well, the soil placement was what
That
we.
came from outside.
That was all the truckfuls that had been coming in for the last 5 years.
Oh.
That created,
It was nothing new?
no.
Oh, I thought when they took out the 1 acre one and put it with
No,
the 8.
they may have
had to fill the
relocated
whole-
soil that was already on site, but they didn't bring anything in new to
Oh,
fill that.
okay, all right.
One other thing that was probably going to be important for us is the RDA moving forward, and it will be also for Concom when plans are finally made for this. It was indicated, not at our Concom meeting last week or 2 weeks ago, but at one of our meetings, I'm going to say a year ago, when PFAS first came up, and also at the Concom meeting, that where the cap is can't be built upon. Because
yeah, I remember that.
they can't risk puncturing the cap.
I remember that.
It's not very, very deep. But another thing that they said they would do is the area where the cap is, they would put in parking lots, which creates yet another secondary cap over that.
Okay.
So stormwater that would be diverted away from the cap, and it really becomes a secondary cap on top of the one that's there now. So there'll be a very thick rubber cap that's in the ground now, and on top of that will be pavement.
So how are they, there's a question here. This is 8 acres. What was the first? Was this 1 acre into 8, which is now this 8 acres wide? Is that the only one that's out there, PFAS?
There were two, the 1 acre and the 8 acre. They transported the 1 acre contaminated soil to the 8 acre location and
Right.
capped the 9 acre total.
And that's the one you're talking about,
Yeah.
parking lot?
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to, however they divide this land up, right?
Yeah.
Whoever buys it's gonna have to predetermine something.
My guess is that when it comes time to divide the property, that the entirety of the cap will be in one parcel.
Okay,
It wouldn't make any sense to split that.
you're right. It might dictate how they're gonna put, where they're gonna put the distribution center. I guess that was it, Saber. You answered that real well. Do you have any other questions for him?
I don't. It was very informative.
Thank you. You ought to, if you get a chance, you should watch that meeting. It's really insightful. Yeah, I don't know how he puts up, is this
I know.
constant?
Yeah.
Is public hearing constant?
Yes, must-watch TV.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
guess if you had polluted water though, from this site, it wouldn't be funny.
Well, excuse me?
Yeah, there's people that are downstream because what you didn't see was the October 19th of 22 meeting.
Okay.
When they discussed that the Whetstone Brook, which goes out to the Winnetoxet River,
Okay.
which goes out to the Nemasket and the Taunton River watershed, which goes out to the ocean. So this PFAS, this was found and it was dumped into the wetlands. And so the mitigation for putting cap on this, the engineers came before and spoke at the Carver Conservation Commission from October 19th. So that water is now flowing completely through to other areas. And if you are downstream from that, I'm sure if your well or your water was polluted, you wouldn't be thinking it was so funny and that the residents don't have a reason to be upset. So,
I'm sorry, can I get your name and
yeah,
address?
it's Rebecca Lipton.
And where are you a resident, in Carver?
No, I'm right on the Carver-Plimpton border,
And you're
along
what?
with a lot of other residents there.
Can I have your address, please?
30 Prospect Road.
Thank you.
Thank you. And is your well,
I'm not going to talk about that with you.
okay.
Okay, and but I am upset that this was allowed in the first place because people elect officials and selectmen appoint the Carver Conservation Commission and permit, the planning board permits these things. This happened a long time ago. I remember it decades ago. And Plimpton was very upset about it because they allowed and permitted somebody, actually the guy who polluted Ravenbrook, the dump over there, polluted all those residents' wells on Plymouth Street. Then other people came behind Abishine, to that area that you're referring to now, and that the cap, which is not the best solution for that area. If you do any research on PFAS sites, it needs to be removed, and there are places to take it. It is expensive, but there are better mitigation strategies than that. But anyway, I blame anybody who was involved in allowing the permitting of these projects. So any residents have the right to come and voice their opinions to boards who are allowing things to happen that pollute people's wells, and then have to have the high costs of putting systems in and hooking up to, these people have to, back then, had to hook up to Middleborough water, and we were actively engaged in this because we're all downstream from the Whetstone Brook, which is now polluted because there's PFAS in it. So it's not funny. It's the environment. And we eat fish, and these are our resources and our aquifer we're talking about. So that is why I'm here.
Oh, okay.
So, because I was at that Concom meeting.
Oh, okay.
And I was also at the Conservation Commission meeting on October 19th when the engineer and the woman came and tested the water, and that was in Plimpton that she tested water. Right on the line.
Okay.
And this is all the results of that. So, it is highly concerning to me that, first of all, that you think it's funny, number one. Number two, that the mitigation process is to throw some soil on top of it, put a parking lot on it. I mean, water moves under the ground, that's where our aquifer is, and it's not that deep. So, to me, the mitigation strategy is not the proper way to go through this. I don't care what the state says. The state also says that our levels of PFAS are at 20, and the EPA says they're at 0. So, there you go. They have to come into compliance with that soon. So, there's a lot going on out there, and it's not just, let's put some buildings in there and let, everybody else worry about their poisoned wells.
Well, I appreciate you coming.
Do you remember, were you here when all the residents filled this place angry
Oh.
on Plymouth Street? When
No.
poisoning happened from Ravenbrook at Whitworth's place? That was Ravenbrook. And this place was full of angry residents of Carver.
I
And I
remember.
remember it. I was here.
Are you talking about the meeting at the RDA?
No,
or
I'm talking about when Ravenbrook polluted everybody's wells
Oh,
on Plymouth Street,
how-
heading to Middleborough.
How long ago was that?
That was a while ago.
Okay.
We actually, our group received an award from Toxic Actions in Boston, Residents Against Waste.
You're saying that was decades ago, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those people still are hooked up to Middleborough water.
I know.
And they had to incur the cost, Avery. This
Well-
is something that they had to do, and now their properties, their wells are polluted. These are property values you're talking about that people work their entire lives to work for.
So I have a question. We have town water, which goes right through, which will be, that district, that whole area will be town water, not wells.
Where is this?
Whatever the project happens.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's Carver.
They will have wells, but those are for hydrants. That's a separate, if you were focused with us when we were initially doing with Hillwood in those various meetings that we had, maybe you would have come more informed. But here's my question to you. You live in Plimpton? Okay,
I'm right there.
right there. Because Middleborough was able, or Carver was able to work with Middleborough to bring water to the town, I'm questioning now why that water our water coming in your town can't approach and combine with our town and giving you water. Your whole area water.
Where is your water coming from, Middleborough?
Cole's property, up there across the street, up across the 44 road.
When it works,
Problems with Coles.
when it works,
When it
it
works.
That's
comes
what
from
I'm
North
saying.
Carver.
That is
Hold on, but let me finish. The reality
it's
is,
an unstable solution.
well, it won't be, it shouldn't be, because we're supposed to have everything getting fixed and everything by the Carvers, on the Carver side, but that could be a proposal. That could be a proposal.
I think Plimpton really prides themselves on environmental strengths. And, we don't have an extra well option. We are trying to resolve that issue right now. But, we like our well water and we want to keep it clean. But because of the situation here in Carver, because we share an aquifer together,
Everybody does.
but
All of Carver. It's all of Carver.
okay, but there's responsibilities that you have here in town government to look after keeping our resources healthy.
Well, let me just say this. I've been in Carver for 51 years. We have 5 dumps in our Carver. 5.
That's what you guys decided to do.
And guess what? Those people who did it are gone.
Yes, I understand.
And it's not just that area where Green Park is. It's North Carver. I live in North Carver, and it's coming right there. And they already spent $450,000 to put water for that small area, and it's gonna grow, no doubt about it, right? But at least the damage is done. You have to admit that. The damage is done. And anything that happened then is now coming to fruition, if you will, but they're trying to solve these problems. And DEP, and you must admit, although the remediation wasn't quite to your level, it was accepted by DEP, and it is a remediation. They didn't just close their eyes to it.
I also have to ask you a question. That is, so the Whetstone is part of the Taunton River watershed, and the Taunton River Watershed Alliance has jurisdiction to see if those wetlands, if everything there is acceptable in the plans that were sent, because that is a watershed district. So that's just something that I'm not sure if was overlooked or if they know about or what.
Are these the plans that you guys looked at? The mitigation,
Yes, we actually, at the last meeting
Okay.
that Rebecca's talking
Yeah.
about, we approved the certificate of compliance.
Right,
That
okay.
they had done what we had approved for them to do
Okay.
last year.
Okay.
So honestly, the problem is that we are in a situation where we are the ones, it's coming from upstream, the PFAS. And if you know, water does move underground. That's what happens with the aquifer. There's something called an aquaflow. So, you know, water does move, and it moves quickly underground. So the PFAS mitigation, it's not the best option. And I'm not sure if you know this, because you're not on the Conservation Commission, but you watched the October 19th meeting. They had dumped, I think they said 25 feet worth of material into that water, into the water. And so, you know, there's other,
Excuse me, is that 2023 October? What's she talking about?
2022, it was a year ago.
A year ago. That's when
October
that's when we gave them the NOI, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
thought. That's when we gave
So
them.
this has been a long time. And you know, there's a lot of other things happening that, you know, PFAS can make you sick. So it can make you really sick. It can make people in this town, in Plimpton, very, very sick and downstream. So now that this is in the water, and I don't find it funny, I'm really upset about it, you know? You know, we were here, the town of Plimpton, the select board came when Ravenbrook happened here. Because we're concerned, you know, so.
I don't want to get, I know, back and forth with you, but there are a couple of things I just want to point out. First of all, the PFAS that's there has been there for a long, long time, and has been there longer than people have even known that PFAS existed. PFAS is a relatively new discovery as a carcinogen and a toxic agent. So when, I'm not diminishing the fact that Ravensbrook was doing something bad back then, but
But we're talking about behind Abishan. I'm
Okay.
not talking about Ravenbrook right now.
But that's-
They were dumping, and we actually,
okay.
our selectmen at the time, we came to meetings and we talked about this dumping. I actually remember was in the newspaper was there and were talking to me about it. And I was describing with biosolids all the heavy metals that were completely toxic. Right, I wasn't talking about PFAS compounds. What I was talking about were simple toxic elements
Right.
like arsenic, lead, cadmium, heavy metals that come with biosolids. And somebody was bagging biosolids up there and selling it to unsuspecting people.
There's no argument that bad things
Okay?
happened there.
But that's what they were dumping up there.
There's no argument that bad things happened there.
Right.
The-
And that's, let me be clear, that was what they were dumping up, where this Carver redevelopment thing is. I'm not talking about Ravenbrook, that's a whole nother story.
Right.
And we were upset because they were going up there and doing that.
Right. But if you listen
And we were
to,
right.
if you
And
listen-
look what happened.
if you listen to,
You didn't listen to us back then.
I wasn't
and now
here.
you have
I
a
wasn't here.
You have a-
Please don't say you, it
Okay,
wasn't me.
I'm not using
I know.
slavery as a, like you per se. I'm saying that this was definitely preventable.
Most likely.
These are forever chemicals, as you know. They are not going away. They really should be removed and hauled out of here. They should, period. And we tried to prevent this. We came here and tried to prevent this.
I'm sure.
And this is why I'm sitting here decades later in the same town hall that I was protesting back then about what was happening up there. And here I am again now, because it happened. Our fears came true. So, you know, to laugh when wells are polluted and the water is coming towards us. I mean, there's a whole big mess. You've got Ravenbrook, you've got Middleborough Dump, you've got North Carver.
We got 5 of them.
You
Keep
know,
going.
I know, I
You,
believe me.
too bad you weren't here 51 years ago like I was. We protested too, when all these,
When Mazzilli was,
exactly.
Okay.
And it didn't happen, it didn't do a thing, they just received the money
But
at
this is
midnight, let me tell you.
I know, I
Right,
remember.
you know,
I do know.
you do know.
I know, because I had a,
So we're being charged,
thousands of signatures.
hold on. We're being charged today, at least, you're talking to people here that are taking a hard look, all that's happened, right? And is doing something about it. Something. They didn't pull it out and truck it out. They had a remediation that was accepted. And I understand what you're saying, that underground moves and the whole 9 yards, but you have to at least know that this Concom or this redevelopment or the select board are caring about what's going on, and we're trying to remediate. That's the best we can do.
So the remediation of the North Carver landfill, I would like to speak about that because there are people with really bad situations with their well water. They can't drink their well water. And you know that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so that remediation was a failure, okay? And so,
You mean the brownfield remediation that was done by the state?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming anyone here.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying, let's learn from our mistakes. Let's learn from our mistakes. And I believe that it's the responsibility for the townspeople of this town, Carver, to get out and vote for people that actually care about our natural resources. That's what's gonna stop. I mean, people who can vote, who get in and start, get people out to vote for people who care about this stuff. That's what needs to happen, okay? Because you've got people that knew that this was happening 20 decades ago, Savory.
They don't live here anymore.
Oh, yes, they sure do.
They do?
Yes, they do.
Are they on, were
Yes,
they on boards?
are.
Were they
Oh,
on
yes.
boards?
Oh, yes, they were.
Oh, they were?
Yes,
Okay.
they were. So here I sit and am preaching this to you because a lot of people have polluted wells. And it's unfortunate that we citizens are at the mercy of the decisions made by officials in the town. And it's the cost of, and it's the cost of, the people have to pay for all this stuff out of their pockets when they're trying to send their kids to college and pay their taxes and feed their family.
Well, wait a minute now.
And now they're spending.
We had some
You know how much it
remedy,
is
the
to
North Carver
remediate?
landfill on Plymouth Street where it's polluted, they put in, where those people have problems with their wells, they just put in, spent $450,000 plus to put in water for those people.
Is it working?
I don't know. I'm assuming.
It's not
It's gonna, if anything, it'll get worse, not better.
Let me just ask you, how about Plymouth Street towards Middleborough? They're still on Middleborough water, right?
I don't know. I have no
Well,
idea.
last time I spoke to somebody there, yes, they were.
They may be, they may not be. They may be on coal property water now. There have been issues with the pumping and some contamination in the North Carver water. So they've had to revert back. I'm going to say about 2 months ago, they went back and started pulling water from Middleborough for the entire Plymouth Street, both east and west of 58.
Right, I understand that.
And then I think that they fixed the problem at North Carver, and I think everyone's back on North Carver water.
But
I'm not 100% sure, though.
My point is, why do we have to rely on everybody else's water supply when we have an aquifer that was working beautifully? We had clean water. You know, now with the decision-making of certain entities, We don't. And it's frustrating. And now, it's affecting Plimpton. Because that was dumped in the Whetstone Brook. The Whetstone Brook goes through 150 acres of land we all went out and voted to save. It's a brook, it's a preserve now. People came out of their houses, young and old, to vote for this place. I've never seen such a packed town house to vote to save this land, to preserve it, preserve the water. We have so much wildlife there. And now, that brook, with all that PFAS that was dumped in there, and all the stuff that was dumped in that brook, that moves to this preserve.
I'm missing something. What was dumped in the brook?
And everything that was dumped throughout the entire 200 acres.
Oh, okay.
From
All right.
from
Yeah,
the
but
stump
talk
dump
about
to
what
the.
really was dumped out there, Savory.
No, I wasn't here then, and
You know, and there was biosolids.
yeah.
So hold
That
on.
was-
I'm just trying to get this picture.
Yeah.
The 232 acres, that's out there now, Green Business Park, right? 232 acres. That 15, 25, 35 years ago was a dump, and it also had other things that it harvested, like trees and, what do you call that?
It wasn't supposed to be a dump, that's where you're
Right.
wrong. What happened
Well,
was.
wait a minute, let
they
me
got
just get a better
permits
picture.
to-
It started with one person, and he got all of the macadam from Air Force, and he put it on
That
his
was on
land.
That's
That's
Ravenbrook,
Ravensbrook,
you're referring to
Yeah.
Ravenbrook.
Okay,
So the Whetstone Brook does start over there,
okay.
and it comes from Savory Pond, that area. And it traverses across the road under 44 and all that business. However, this area, that Route 44 redevelopment, other things were dumped there,
Yes.
okay?
Multiple, three,
That
four, yeah.
And
Is that what you're talking about?
This is all, yes, and it's permitted by people here. I mean, if I was here and somebody came to me and said, I want this business and this is what I'm gonna do up there, you bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna check up on that to make sure you're not dumping illegal stuff in the brook to ruin our aquifer.
So,
That would be me.
on the 200,
All of this happened prior to Route 44's purchase of the property.
really? So now,
Right.
when the remediation, way back when Jack Hunter was here, and
Yeah, then when the state did it.
the state did it, right? They had all kinds of monitoring wells.
You're talking
It took
about Ravenbrook.
No, the North Carver parcel.
the North.
Oh, North Carver Park.
Yeah.
The 200 acres. Let's not, Ravensbrook we know is
Okay.
polluted and,
I don't know which property she's talking about, there's many of them.
Well, the 230 some odd acres which is
Route 44
Route
property.
44 property,
Abishon.
Okay.
had not, it didn't just have this middle dump, it had, he rented it out, or he let other people put
Yes.
all I mean, we had fires there and stinky smokes, and it was just, and we as taxpayers protested against that as well. And finally, they woke up and they stopped it, because we had a good town planner that came in, that was Jack Hunter.
Right, they declared
So
it
we
a
had a
brownfield.
Yeah, and it created a brownfield, and from there, he wrote the necessary, whatever you call it, he had to write for the government to come in and put all these monitoring wells, and just, they looked at it, that was, 10 years?
More than that.
More, 10, 15 plus years.
No, I know about.
Okay, so that's when the damage was, I'm trying to, what I'm saying is, they didn't turn around and do it, they didn't create a deaf ear or close their eyes, they did something. It took time, hold on, it took time. So now, time is not on our side, because now the forever pollution thing, PFAS, right, on that land has been exposed. But there again, nobody's closing their eyes or turning a deaf ear to it. Hold on, and they're doing something. Now, this is the 21st century, and they're doing, what they're thinking is the right thing, the approved thing. The more strict one that you're talking about is like get rid of it. Well, that would be very ongoing anyway. But that particular remediation was approved by DEP. Now,
If you did your research, though,
that I did my research.
if you do your first of all, let me just say something.
What I'm trying to get to is that today, nobody is closing their eyes or creating a deaf ear.
Because the
They're doing
property is
something.
selling for development. And when they go in to test, the engineers came in, they hired a consultant to come test the water, they tested the water, and now it's no good. So then they discovered PFAS in there. That's what happened. You can't, there's a drinking water problem up there, and there's hot, toxic contamination. You know, this is on a portal with the DEP. It's a toxic site. So that isn't something that you guys remediated. This is something that had to happen because it's a now toxic site.
And it's happening.
And they found that this stuff was buried in there when they went out.
So, all right, let me stop here. So now there's action.
Yeah, because there had to be. Because you cannot, this isn't something that was.
That's okay.
"Oh, I think we're gonna just clean this out." That isn't what happened. So you're acting like everybody in the town came together and decided, oh, that we have toxic pollution out there, let's clean it up. That isn't what happened.
No,
It
but
was a forced hand issue.
well-
Because these people want it developed and they want to make money off of it and they want to get industry in there. But the problem is, it's still there. They buried that stuff. They dumped it right in the water supply, you know, from what the engineers said, you know, at that, if you look at the October 19th meeting, you can see what they said. So, you know, but here we are.
hold on, I'm
Here we
losing
are.
her. What
Here
did
we
you?
are at this point. Here we are now, okay? What you guys are doing in your development of this property isn't going to help any of the residents that are downstream from this issue. Because, a lot of people there rely on their water supply for their work, okay? And, you know, and they're watering their animals, their chickens, their dogs, you know. Now they have to go in and they have to get a $30,000 reverse osmosis system. And how is that helping your neighbors?
Well, what they did so far is quelling the flow, that's right? Isn't that how that
We don't-
hold on,
Do you really know
remediation
this?
is?
Do you really-
What happens after, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, this could be ongoing, I have no idea,
And hydrologists,
but it's gone.
you know?
I mean,
We need really more information on that. I don't believe it, you know? I know how water is. I mean, we should all know how water moves. I mean, we've had enough rain. You see all the streets are all washed out and there's gullies on the sides of the roads and the pavement.
That's problem
It's all washed
pollution.
out and there's, you know, it's the way water is, it's forceful.
So, we've been, you've been patient to listen to us, and we've been
Yes.
patient to listen to
Yes.
you. So your bottom line is, what?
Oh, my bottom line was here to find out what is happening up there
Okay,
tonight.
okay.
Because, you know, I personally think the mitigation should have been removed.
Oh, okay.
And it is expensive, but there are places that will take it,
One,
okay? But you know what? Get it, you got money, how much was that stoplight that's going nowhere right now? $3 million?
that was a grant from the state.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know? Figure it out, Savory. Everybody's water is gonna be, it needs to be mitigated in a way that, you know, we're getting rid of this stuff. We don't want it here. We have an aquifer to worry about.
Well,
And now, just if you look at the concentration in this area of PFAS sites, there's 3 now, right, in a very small concentrated area. And how is that fair to the neighbors of Carver.
What would your solution be for Ravensbrook, which has a larger concentration of PFAS?
Well, I think that needs to be mitigated in a
Dug up and moved
in
to?
a more professional way, because, you know, that was how many years ago? They
Right.
just capped it and threw solar panels up there,
Right.
you know? Yeah, I do. I mean, listen, I don't expect you to do what they're doing down at Edwards, which would be a great idea, because it's working down there. But it costs a lot of money. And who's responsible?
The responsibility lies with the people who did it in the
Right.
first place, and they're all gone.
Right.
So,
That's right. That's why my whole vision of this is I'm here because I want to oversee what's happening now, because it's been a failure. I've watched failure after failure after failure here. And I don't live here, but it's happening to it's affecting other communities.
well, I think, you know, as Joanna said, and you heard in the meeting last week or 2 weeks ago when you were there, that they are going to monitor it. And
You're gonna monitor it once a year in spring, and, you know, I don't find that acceptable either.
I know, you mentioned that, but
just don't think
they
it's
said
enough.
that they found the highest levels of concentration in the spring, and that, you know, they could have said, let's do it in the fall when there's no water
Was that
flow.
the engineer for the builder?
I believe so.
Okay,
So anyway.
we'll do what's right for the builder. Let's do that. Let's do what's right for the builder and not for the residents who are having to turn on their tap every day.
But you need to set up a control. If it's spring, then it's spring every year, you get a,
I don't think it should be done once a year. I don't think those monitoring wells should be tested once a year.
well,
At least every 4 months. That's what
Yeah.
I think should happen.
well, then you bring more of the chaos factor
That would be-
into it.
No, that would be the responsible thing to do, in my opinion.
Well, I don't agree with that. I think that kind of gets more into the chaos factor. I think if you tested water right now, you'd get a lot different, a lot different level than if you tested it the same time 2 years ago when we were in the middle of a drought.
Well, I think, you know.
So then your
I think it
controls.
I don't think it gets better, I think it gets worse. The PFAS tests. I mean, you know,
Well, what the hope is that that the water quality remains status quo or starts to show improvement. If it keeps going the other way,
how are we gonna know that if we don't test?
well, we're going to test it the same time once a
Once
year
a
because
year.
that's going to
So
tell you.
everybody's just gonna have to sit around and wonder for a whole year what's going on.
That's how testing works.
No, a lot of people in Carver test a lot more than once a year.
But there could
for
be
their
other
PFAS
factors.
problems.
If the numbers go up from one year to the next in fall and then go down from the same year to the next in spring, where's your conclusion?
Well, that's a hypothesis. I mean, that's not even
But it could
a real
happen.
statement.
It could happen,
It's not factual, so I can't talk about that.
right.
It's not even-
But that's why
you know?
that's why you pick a control
how
and you
come
test
we
that.
still have all these PFAS problems if they're supposedly mitigated? I mean, we've got a cap landfill over here in North Carver. That certainly isn't mitigated. People have PFAS in their wells. They all have these fancy
Across from
systems.
Quickies?
Huh?
The dump across from Quickies or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
North Carver. And then we have Ravenbrook, and those people have problems with their wells, and they're still on Middleborough, or maybe they're not now. I don't know. One
There's a-
minute they're on Middleborough, the next minute they're somewhere else.
Yeah,
They're-
well-
You know, I can't keep track of it. It's just too ridiculous. You know, so basically, to answer your question, I'm here just because, yes, I was at Savory's meeting, and yes, I am upset, because I was here.
It was a
20
Concom meeting, it wasn't mine.
Concom. Okay, Savory. This does upset me. This does
Yeah.
upset me, because we are affected. We are affected in Plimpton.
Excuse me. We have to move on, we have a little bit, we have some more.
Okay.
You're welcome to continue to stay,
Okay.
and I'm glad you're keeping an eye on what's going
It
on.
doesn't do me any good, does it?
Well, no, I won't tell you that, I won't tell you that.
I'm just hoping that the select board, the conservation commission, the planning board, they all can work together in harmony to do the right thing. Just do the right thing.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate your time, and let me move on.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is Wade Street. Again, Concom had a September meeting, and they voted to accept Wade Street. Thank you very much, Wade. Wade, stay free. Could you want to give us a little opening on that?
I went to the Conservation Commission with the 3 remaining items that needed to be taken care of on that parcel. The garden fence that encroaches the wire in the ground in the 2 fence sections. And Conservation Commission accepted or decided, voted to accept the property as is.
Oh, okay.
And then we, as Conservation Commission, will send a letter to the homeowner asking them to fix those last remaining 3 problems. And we will give them a timeline to do so.
Okay.
And if they fail to do so by the timeline, then the Carver Conservation Commission will hire someone to go in and do that, and we will send the homeowners the invoice
Okay.
for work done.
Okay.
But they've been very cooperative in the past, and I don't see this as being much of a problem.
Good. Okay.
The wire and the fence sections are very easy to remove. The garden may take a little bit of work, but
Okay.
it's a high, 4-foot-high chain link fence with a corner post,
Okay.
which could become a liability for anybody who's walking on the conservation property.
Okay. I
So it's
understand
got to
that.
go.
Wow, okay. All right, I called Kathleen today because I wanted to find out what we could do, next steps for us, knowing that they had that meeting. And she said that we need to get the, well, I didn't know that Savory had said, or the committee voted to accept, and they were going to take care of that. I failed to, in my mind, I guess, to remember that. But she asked us to go back to Borden, Arthur Borden, and make sure that those stone bounds were set. Because that's we paid extra for that, So he needs to finalize whatever he needs to do.
That's the survey?
Yeah, the survey, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We haven't paid for that yet, right?
No.
okay.
We haven't paid for that.
But our contract with him was to set, I think, 6 bounds.
Stone bounds, yeah, they were extra. So I guess she said that he needs to finish the job and finalize it, send you an invoice, and then we would come back and vote
Yeah.
to pay at that point. She has the deed, it's all ready to go. I also reminded her that, if you remember, Sharon had opened the door, she and I had gone to the select board to tell them to rescind that vote. Remember on Wade Street, they had voted, they said that they would rescind the vote when the Concom had accepted. So with that, she said, I'm going to send you a form, and that form will clearly have a signature on it, which I will sign as chair. But it also has to have a signature that the Concom accepted, and it also a signature from the select board that they approved. So that would take care of that issue. That'll take care of that issue. So
Okay.
that would be, I think, next steps,
All right.
okay?
Yep.
So let me say that we don't have to vote on paying anything yet. We haven't got anything
We
done.
haven't got none until
so,
we get
yeah.
something.
So are you, I don't know Art Borden.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Would you take that
I
responsibility?
can do that. I can call Art, tell him to finish up, put in the bounds.
Okay,
Send
that's
us a final invoice.
final invoice, and supposedly we're due a copy of what he finishes.
Yeah, a
so-
large copy.
And then
Well, that would have to go to the registry of deeds.
The
anyway.
registry, but Kathleen will take care of that.
Fine,
She'll take care of that. She said it's called an 81X, and she'll file that as
Alright.
well.
Okay.
Along with the deed.
okay.
And I believe, and let me say this, that Sharon had signed papers, I don't know how, where, or what she did with them, but remember that, she said that the chair was the only one that needed to sign. I think that was done, I'm gonna have to get a hold of her and find out where was that recorded or something, I don't know, it must have been recorded.
The chair would only be the only one to sign.
For any acceptance, it didn't have to have all of the members sign. I remember that.
I guess if everybody's on board, I don't know. It's not that big,
I mean,
it's not.
as far as the checks go, we still need 2 signatures, that's not a problem.
Well, yeah, but we also need to have consensus that we got a bill and it should be paid.
Oh, most definitely, when that
So,
when that arises,
We want everybody involved in that one.
we will, no
Yeah.
problem there. All right, treasurer's report, you're on.
Okay, everybody got an email today.
I got it,
of
yeah.
Bank balances of September 30th.
Yep,
In our checking account, we get a whopping $53.99. In our money market account, which is the RDA savings account, is $59,630.82. Hillwood's been zero for a while. And in the URP account, $1,280.45, nothing outstanding.
okay. We need a motion to accept the treasurer's.
We move money out of the money market when we need it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so-
when Art sends us his invoice, we'll move
So
the
if
money.
he's got, a $1,000 bill.
Yeah.
Then in fact, when we get a bill like that, I'll move the exact amount
Okay.
from one account.
So you'll
to
keep the
another.
balance at around the 53 or whatever.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
but we've got ongoing things, like,
Yeah.
what
We have
what
to
Susan
pay
does, and
secretary.
every once in a while, I'll take a few hundred and just put it in there,
Okay.
just to
Okay.
cover the normal day-to-day stuff.
Okay.
But if it's an exact bill, I'll do an exact,
It's about $9,000, his
yeah,
bill.
whatever
Okay.
it is, yeah.
All right.
All right, we have to have a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll make that motion.
Second. So moved.
Yeah, need to vote.
Oh, sorry. Call for the vote. Savory.
Savory Moore says aye.
Joanna Layton says aye.
I guess I say aye.
Yeah, you're gonna have to say aye.
I did it, so, but
You're gonna have to say
it's
aye.
okay.
Thank you. Okay, treasurer, topics not anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance. I did have Roger talking to us, Savory, about the Indian Street. Well, we can put that in the back burner. He's not here tonight. Whether you did that or not, I don't know. You said you were gonna take a look at it.
Yeah.
It was at the very, very end. Just as an FYI, Roger and myself, we were on that Tom Bott's review maps and data for updating town's property. That's going to take place October 4th, which is tomorrow, 2 to 4. That's for that. Does anybody have anything that they want to
No.
report on? How about you, Pat?
All
Nothing?
set.
Okay,
Yep.
nothing on that one. I read the minutes for those 3 months. Have you
I
read the
did too.
minutes? You did too.
I did too.
You
Okay.
did too.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 20th as written.
Okay, I don't think I had a thing on that one.
I'll second it.
Discussion, 1 second. I made some notes.
Okay,
Hold on.
that's fine.
Well, it's moved second, and now you can,
Right, move second,
Discuss.
now discuss.
Okay. By the way, I'm new chair, so bear with me. The guys are helping me, I need all the support I can get. Okay, so let me just take a quick glance. I made some notes. It was mostly the September ones I did. Okay, I approve as well,
okay, then as chair,
yes.
I'll call for the vote.
Oh my God, look at this. I better go home and practice tonight. As chair, I'm calling for the vote, please.
All right, Savory Moore says aye.
Pat?
I,
And Joanna Layton says aye. Okay, the next one would be August.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the August 1st, 2023 meeting as written.
okay, second.
As approved. Did I do it right?
Are you good with it?
I'm good with it.
So,
Okay, then-
so,
I'm good with it.
so now you call for a vote.
So let's have a vote, please.
All right, Savory Moore says aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Joanna Layton.
All right,
It's been
finally, I
approved.
will make a motion that we approve the minutes for the September 5th, 2023 meeting as written.
Okay, second.
I just have can I do discussion?
Yes.
Now
yes.
discussion. Yes, so you're the chair, you can do anything you want.
Oh.
Right? Okay.
We'll go home late tonight if you could.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Accept all that.
No.
Wow.
No. No. It just comes at the very end. Oh, it's just so simple, Savory.
Okay.
Okay.
Big statement, you said, have they given any reasons for the decrease of hillside-like projects? I believe it should be Hillwood.
Yeah, it should be
No,
Hillwood.
okay.
Okay.
Is that on the last page, Seth?
No, it's page 4. Page 4, it was like, just before Bob Delholm was explaining everything that was undertaken, and it was like numbered 1, 2, 3, and then Mr. Moore had made a question.
Okay.
Did you find that one?
I don't have it up, but I'll find it.
Okay.
Good.
Oh, on page 7, well, that doesn't really relate to you. Wade Street, Savory told us the 4 things that needed, well, he said 3, Joanna added the 4th. And I said, there is a St. Francis statue that should be removed as well.
Yeah.
But I also said, along with a shovel, which is part of the bulldozer, to be removed. And I went back and looked at it. Is that stupid or what? But it is. I have a picture of it.
The backhoe?
Yeah.
The backhoe attachment?
Yeah. The backhoe attachment.
When did you go back? It's still there?
No, I just looked at my pictures and I
Oh.
went back, no.
I
don't
think
know.
that was probably there to
I
help
don't
move the
know.
barn. So
Oh,
I'll
really?
mention it to them.
Oh, okay.
It's backhoe shovel? Backhoe?
Yeah, it's the
bucket?
attachment, it's the bucket.
Okay.
The bucket, there you go. Let me put that one down. That makes it a lot better. And I believe, guess what? That's it.
All right, so I will amend my motion to say, I make a motion to approve the minutes from September 5th as amended.
Okay, second.
Okay, call for a vote.
Savory Moore says aye.
Aye.
Joanna Layton says aye. Good, we got through with that. Thank you very much. I guess I gotta practice a little bit. Okay.
It'll come with
You
practice.
think so? Yeah, all right. All right. I rely on all you people helping me. All right, next meeting, and Savory made a great suggestion, November 7th.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we hold our next meeting on Tuesday, November 7th, either after our joint meeting with the Select Board, should that happen.
Okay.
Or at 6:30 if the Select Board joint meeting does not happen.
Just to mention, November 7th is Election Day. Is the town going to be doing anything on it?
It's not a national election, I think it's just,
Okay.
you know, it's an
Okay.
off year.
No, it should be fine.
Is anything being voted on in Massachusetts?
I don't know.
We could ask Kara, she's probably still here.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Oh.
I
I'm
mean,
assuming they wouldn't have
This-
scheduled a select board meeting if there was,
True.
but who
true,
knows?
I,
It usually just affects the school.
yeah. So anyway,
They might-
that's my
They
motion.
might be closed.
So,
Okay, good.
did you motion for a time? Are you just gonna,
No, I motion for the time being either immediately following the joint meeting with the Select Board, if it occurs, or at 6:30 if there is no joint meeting.
okay. It'd be hard for me to know what time to come, but somebody can just shoot
We
me a
won't,
text.
we won't know until
Yeah.
Right.
that time frame.
Right, we won't know unless we have applicants
Yeah, that's,
for the position,
right.
but we can let you know.
But then that'll be on our agenda,
Yes, but,
right? And-
Yeah, we'll just have an agenda.
And Susan does the agenda. So.
No, Joanna does the agenda.
Well-
She puts
well-
it together.
But she'll know it in that respect.
right, but the agenda can be done beforehand saying that a possible
Okay.
select board meeting, if we don't know
Then we can
yet.
amend it.
We could know by then, too.
Well, we do it because we have a,
What's the?
no, you have
No, we-
October 31st due date.
Yes, deadline.
31st
yeah.
deadline.
Right,
So we'll know.
We're gonna know by then, one way or another.
exactly, one way or the
Okay.
other, we'll know. Yeah,
All right, so I made the motion. We need to vote.
yeah.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been
Savory Moore says aye.
Joanna Layton, says
Aye.
aye. Aye,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
so moved.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, you were gonna do that, but I'm just wondering, I know that property back there, you know, whoever owns that property back there behind Avashon.
Route 44.
What, Route 44, right? How many acres did you say were in total there?
There are two different numbers. The area that is zoned as Green Business Park is a little over 300 acres.
Right.
The area that Route 44 owns is, I believe, a combined approximately 250 acres. So there are 50 acres that are part of the Green Business Park zoning district that are not owned by Route 44. And I don't know where those are. I think it's a little corner up by Plimpton and Middleborough.
So Route 44 owns 300?
No, less. They own the smaller portion. I'm going to say around 250.
Is that including Webby, those two front properties?
I don't know.
And then, right. And then the other portion you said was 300?
No, the 250 is within the 300.
Oh, okay.
The zoning district, the Green Business Park zoning area is 300 acres.
Oh, that's.
Within that 300 acres, Route 44 owns, I think, around 250.
My next question is, has an archaeological survey been done up there? Because I know there's a lot of water and so forth.
I have no idea.
Isn't that required?
I have no idea.
I think it is.
I don't know. All they're going to find is pieces of cement and
Well, it is
PFAS.
called the Whetstone Brook for a reason. Do you know what a whetstone is?
I do, yes. Actually, one was donated to the town. We're trying to put it in front of the library.
Oh, who has it?
It's behind the EMS right now. But someone had it in their yard and donated a big stone. So, anyway,
Anyway,
so I don't know. That's a town hall question, not.
well, I'm just concerned because there have been burials removed and all this earth removal stuff going on here in town. So documented historical burials.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything like that.
Dr. William Fowler did the archaeological dig at one of the sites, and that hill was all taken out, so.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea what the
I mean,
long ago history of that parcel was.
I know it very well. It's 8,000 years of occupation over there in, on Pond Street, off of Pond Street. It's a big tract of land, goes all the way to Plymouth. And it's historical. You can find out about it. There's William Fowler in 1952 did an archaeological dig there. He convinced Makepeace to do it. And he found cremation burial remains there, and, cremation burial goods. So, everything was left because that's what you do. But then, all this earth removal, sand and gravel removal, things go south.
Yeah, well, I don't know the answer to your question. I don't think it's an RDA responsibility. It certainly isn't Concom.
Right.
So, All right, motion to adjourn.
Second?
Vote
All in favor?
aye.
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 All right, we're out.
Okay, thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.